Welcome to this video. In this video, I will search for the perfect language game. When I first started teaching English to elementary school children many years ago, I used to model or elicit new language targets, and then get the children to practice these new words and patterns in games. I gradually realized that some of these methods were incompatible with the constructivist approach to psychology that I believed in. I realized it was a lot more effective if I set things up so that children discovered the new language targets themselves while they were playing. That was an important step forward, but I often had the feeling that it didn't go far enough. The children were learning a lot, having a lot of fun, and discovering things for themselves. But many of the games still felt to me like classroom games, and so were different from the games the children played of their own volition away from the class. I wanted to do better than that. I wanted to search for the perfect game. Is the perfect game physically active? I tried making games more physically active, but it didn't resolve the issue. More physically active games just had different strong points and weak points. The integration of physical activity with learning definitely made the learning more memorable, and it was healthy for the children. But, on the other hand, the physical activity often reduced the amount of time in the game when English was used. And there were some children who focused so much on the activities that they didn't really care so much about the English in the games. I don't mean the perfect game has to be quiet and reflective. Maybe it could be physical. I am just making the point that I don't think making a game more or less physical is a key point. Though, of course, this does very much depend on the size of the class, the age of the children, the type of classroom, and other factors. I also think the priority in a perfect game needs to be mental activity rather than physical activity. Though, of course, it is often possible to have both. Making choices. I realized it helped if I gave the children more opportunities to make choices. So I tried to use games where children had more options to choose from within a game, and also gave the children the choice of which games to play from a few options. This was another big step forward. But I still felt the perfect game had something more. Assessing games. I tried analyzing individual games and trying to improve them. I think there are two important broad questions to ask about a game. Are the children fully involved? And are the children reaching their full potential as learners in the time available? Are the children fully involved? I think the first thing to consider is whether the children would also enjoy the game outside the classroom. If they wouldn't, then the children are less likely to be deeply involved when playing the game inside the classroom. The next thing to consider is whether the game satisfies the psychological needs of autonomy, competence, and connection that I looked at in the second video in this series on the psychology behind a good game. And do the children also have plenty of opportunities to anticipate and wonder what is going to happen next? Or is the game rather predictable? And do all the children have an equal chance to feel involved? Or is the game likely to be dominated by children who are more self-confident or better at English? The perfect game needs to score 10 out of 10 for all these factors. Are the children reaching their full potential as learners in the time available? In a good language game, The children have fun and get better at English at the same time. If these two aspects of the activity are totally integrated, the children are likely to stay focused on improving their English, rather than focus on playing games for their own sake. To make this happen, we need to be able to easily change the language content of a game and steadily make the content more difficult over a period of time. If we use games where the language content can't be changed easily, it means we may often need to use new games. This can easily lead to the children getting their main stimulation from exciting new games, rather than exciting new English. The children can easily end up just going through the motions of learning English, and mainly focusing on playing the games. And, in order for the children to reach their full potential in the time available, the children need to use English a lot while playing. In the perfect game, play and learning are inseparable, and the children use English throughout the game. Are the children learning actively? For children to reach their full potential as learners, they need to be learning actively. From a long-term point of view, one of our biggest responsibilities to the children is to strengthen their natural potential to be self-motivated active learners. The aim is for the children to be self-motivated to learn English both inside and outside the classroom. A game that encourages active learning and strengthens self-motivation contains a lot of mystery and confusion. It puts a series of challenges in the path of the children and makes the children pause and think, huh? But by the end of the game, or after a series of games, they have resolved the confusion and so feel a sense of accomplishment. I looked at this active learning cycle more deeply in the series of videos on child-centered learning. So which game is the perfect game? Maybe you know a game that you think is a contender. If you do, I suggest asking these 7 questions about the game. 1. Would the children enjoy the game outside the classroom? 2. Is learning and fun fully integrated? 3. Can the language content of the game easily be changed? 4. Are the children likely to have positive interactions with each other while playing? 5. Do all the children have a reasonably equal chance to feel involved? 6. Do the children have plenty of opportunities to anticipate? 7. Are the children likely to have feelings of ownership and autonomy? My perfect game. I have retired from teaching now, but I taught English as a foreign language to children in many different situations for over 40 years, and experimented with a wide variety of games. For the last few years, I taught small classes with between 4 and 10 children in a class. It was a lovely situation. For those classes, my perfect game was using a simple pack of playing cards. I would give this 10 out of 10 for each of those 7 questions. Why was it perfect? One reason is that playing cards can be used for a wide variety of different games. The children can play Old Maid, Hearts, Go Fish, Concentration, and many other games. So they could choose which game to play. And they could even learn new games between lessons and teach each other these games. They definitely had feelings of autonomy and ownership. The English class became a kind of card club for them. And, at the same time, the children's English improved extremely quickly. Even their mastery of complicated sentence structures with all four skills of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. I used different kinds of cards at different stages. For the first 4 stages, the cards were for learning phonics and had pictures, letters, or words on them. When the children played a game, they performed phonics tasks, such as reading a sound, reading a word, making a sentence with a word, naming words that contained a sound, etc. The timing of when they performed a task varied according to the game they were playing. In some games, it was every time they played a card. In others, it was when they made a pair, handed over a card, or made a set. In these early stages, these card games were just one of the activities in a class. They were combined with other activities for learning vocabulary, communication patterns, and writing. Then, after that, if the children liked playing the games, the whole lesson became a kind of card club. Let's look at the 5 stages. Stage 1. At the first stage, I used cards where hearts and clubs were letters of the alphabet, and diamonds and spades had pictures of the corresponding anchor words. The aim was for the children to learn a, apple, k, cat, and so on, while playing. Stage 2. In the second stage, the children learned anchor words for special phonics families in the same way. Hearts and clubs were letter combinations, such as E or ow, and diamonds and spades had pictures of the corresponding anchor words. So the children learned E, tree, or ow, house, and so on, while playing. Stages 3 and 4. For the next 2 levels, I used the games for learning which words are in which phonics families. For these levels, all 4 cards with the same number had words from the same phonics family. This helped the children immeasurably with their reading and spelling. Stage 5. For the final stage, I wrote words or sentence patterns on the board next to each card, as in the illustration in this slide. When the children played a card, made a pair, handed over a card, or made a set, the children read the appropriate word on the board, or made a sentence with it. This gave me the flexibility to gradually make the words and sentences more difficult while the children were playing games, and ensured that the children were challenged to reach their full potential. The prompts on the board could be used to target grammar or personalized sentences, which could gradually become more difficult. The prompts might be individual words, such as have or has, and the children could say things like, I have a dog, or my father has a computer. Or they might be sentence patterns, such as, there's some, or there are some. And the children practiced making sentences with countable and uncountable nouns. And all these words and sentences could be mixed up, so that the children were always switching between new words and sentences and familiar ones. I will answer those 7 questions. 1. Would the children enjoy the game outside the classroom? Many children love playing these kinds of games at home. I also gave the children the choice of whether or not to play card games, and which game to play. So the classes that played the card games had chosen to play them because they liked this kind of game. 2. Is learning and fun fully integrated? Yes, definitely. They were learning and practicing English as they played. They were doing it throughout the game. 3. Can the language content of the game easily be changed? Yes. I could write any kind of prompt on the board. 4. Are the children likely to have positive interactions with each other? Card games are very social, and the children were interacting with each other all the time. 5. Do the children have an equal chance to feel involved? Winning or losing a game never depended on English ability, just on the game itself. If a child made a mistake, I gave hints and helped if necessary. 6. Do the children have plenty of opportunities to anticipate? Card games involve a lot of wondering and guessing what is going to happen next. 7. Do the children have a feeling of ownership and autonomy? The children chose to play the card games, and they could choose which individual game to play from many options. So yes, for me, that was a perfect game.